Okay, hello everyone. So for the first video, I'm going to be showing how to do the most simple cut. And this is just the normal cuts for making the buildings in the model. So for materials, we're going to have the main thing that we're going to cut. So this is just a rod of wood here. We're going to have two jigs. Now for the jig, you really just want two scrap pieces. Now what's important about them is that they have two flat sides. These are from the ends of the rod, so from here, which means that this part here is completely flat and you don't have to worry about any imperfections on it. And you need just two rough pieces, a nice size. Like I said, as you can see here, I mean, they're two different sizes. It doesn't even need to be the same size. As long as they have the flat edges that I talked about before, it's fine. Next up, we have two clamps. Now for the clamps, obviously these are just normal table clamps. And you want something that's going to be the size about, or maybe a little bigger, preferably a little size bigger than the thing that you're clamping down. So this is 75 millimeters, and this is slightly less than that. And we obviously have the cutting implement. So this is just going to be a normal handsaw, and anything can be used as long as it has a good blade. Now, for the purpose of this video, I have two slabs here of wood. These are just to have elevation, because obviously if I was cutting directly on the table, I'd scratch the table and break it, possibly. We don't want that to happen. So these are just here for elevation, so that when we make the cut, that there is space between. So let's start with the first step, and that is choosing the approximate size of the cut that we want to make. So we're gonna start cutting from the end of the wooden rod here. And we're going to have a nice size building that's approximately that size, let's say. So if it's that size, we need to make sure that we have the cut positioned around where the middle would be, which is right here. And we're going to begin clamping it down. So to begin clamping it down, you want to take the jigs and you want to position them in such a way in which the jigs are right next to each other like that, with a small space in between. And that space will be specifically for the saw. So the space in the middle should be around the size of the saw. Slightly bigger would be better. The exact size would be better. But you can normally do this with the eye to the approximate size. If it's too small, then it won't fit, and too much friction will be caused. That's around right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna clamp down the first one. Okay. Now that this first one's clamped down, we want to make sure we adjust it. That's nice. And one thing I like to do is take the clamp and move it slightly to the left. Now what that means is basically that when I'm cutting, I won't get interference from the clamps when I'm using the saw, which is good. Next up, we have the other one. And like I said, we need to make sure that the slit in the middle is around the size of the saw's blade. Okay, so now that we have clamped it down, I'm going to start doing with the cutting, if I can do this. There you go. What's important about the clamps is that you make sure that they're right about as hard as you can so it doesn't move. So let's begin cutting. Now when we start setting up the cut, we want to make sure that we just set it up. So the first cut that we make is just going to be a small one, and that is just going to be going down the length of the blade like that. Now since this is such a small piece, you don't really have to worry about setting up massive cuts, making sure that they're all done. But for now, we're just going to do it like that. Okay, now that the cut is set, you can just begin cutting normally like that. So, as you can tell, that was a pretty simple one. And now, you can unclamp the jig and the whole piece and see how the cut came out. So here's around the size of the cut. And the edge is pretty good. There's not too much splintering, only on the side. And that kind of has to do with the speed in which I cut it. I should have gone slightly smaller, but it's almost completely straight, and not too much sanding work will need to be done. So that is how you use the jig and you do a normal cut. I'm going to show a picture of how you would cut differently without a jig, and to show you the splintering that would be caused using that. So that's all for now. Thank you.